I came across something fascinating in the Quran, and it deals with the names of Allah. So you're going to want to stick around and hear the ending. When we come across a name or an attribute of Allah in the Quran, Allah often reveals it by giving us some insight about Himself or what He does, and then He follows it by saying something like, surely Allah is, and then an attribute. For example, Surah Zumar, verse 5. He created the heavens and the earth for a purpose. He wraps the night around the day and wraps the day around the night, and He has subjected the sun and the moon, each orbiting for an appointed term. He is truly the Almighty, most forgiving. Another way Allah reveals His names in the Quran is through the words of one of His messengers. For example, Surah Al-Anbiya, Prophet Zechariah says, Lord, do not leave me childless, though you are Al-Warith. You are the best of successors. However, the name of Allah that I want to share with you today is revealed in a totally unique way, and it only appears this one time in the entire Quran. It's in Surah At-Tur, which I want to take you through briefly. So, the surah begins with a warning about hellfire and with a clear promise that those who deny Allah will not escape His punishment. And in verse 17, it transitions and it says, Indeed, the righteous will be in gardens and bliss, enjoying whatever their Lord will have granted them, and their Lord will have protected them from the torment of the hellfire. So now Allah begins telling us about Jannah. In verse 19 it says, the believers will be told, eat and drink happily for what you used to do. It says they will be reclining on thrones, and every person will reap only what they sowed. Verse 22, Allah makes the promise that He will provide the people of paradise with whatever fruit or meat they desire. And while the people of paradise are sitting and talking to each other, in verse 26 they say, before this reward we used to be in awe of Allah in the midst of our people. So Allah has graced us and protected us from the torment of hell's scorching heat. Now here comes the attribute of Allah that I want to share with you. It's not Allah that calls Himself this name, and it's not even a messenger of Allah that says the name. Instead, it's the people of Jannah that refer to Allah the only time in the Quran as Al-Barr. In verse 28 they say, Indeed, we used to call upon Him alone before. He is truly the most kind, most merciful. This name of Allah, Al-Barr, is translated as the most kind. But this is not a kindness that we know in this life. This is the extreme kindness of Allah that is reserved for the people of paradise. And what's special about these people is that it says they used to be in awe of Allah in the midst of their people. So they remember Allah in this life, and they remember His kindness, even when the people around them may be against Allah. Now, they're in a state of ultimate bliss in Jannah, and they say Allah is truly Al-Barr, which is a perfect representation of His supreme kindness. Although they were believers during their time on earth, and they remembered Allah, they submitted to Allah, and they used to call upon Allah. It wasn't until they experienced the unfathomable beauties of Jannah that they truly witnessed the depths of Allah's kindness. This reminds me of Surah Ibrahim verse 7 that says, if you're grateful, I will certainly give you more. But if you're ungrateful, surely my punishment is severe. It's a perfect summary of this message. You see, there's a name of Allah that we won't truly understand until we reach paradise. But to be among this group gathered in Jannah, first, we must be grateful for what He has already given us in this life. Assalamu alaikum.